Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem may have just shot herself in the foot for any potential bid to be President Trump's running mate. Excuse the bad pun, but I also hope you appreciate it. Anyway, in her new book titled No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics and How We Move America Forward, Noem candidly admits to shooting her 14-month-old wire hair pointer. She claims the pup was useless for hunting, was untrainable, had killed a family's chickens, and nearly bit her, and so she decided to put the dog down the old-fashioned way in a gravel pit. Noem admits that if she were a better politician, she would have never admitted to doing such a thing, but she also believes that by sharing this story, she'll impress upon readers her ability to resolve difficult, messy, and ugly situations. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of this at all. I get that things are different on a farm, but Noem is wanting to become a national political figure. At least it appears that way. So, which voter does she think this is going to win over? Those suburban moms who see their dogs as their literal children? Now, I know that's not a healthy view of animals, but you have to deal with voters as they are. Why do Republican politicians think that being relatable to voters means sharing bizarre anecdotes like this one? The left is practically giving us this year's election on a silver platter by being so unhinged and so unbearable that I don't even know if their fraud mechanisms will be able to keep up with all the backlash they're building against themselves. All Republicans literally have to do is to be quiet and let the left make the case for them that we're sane and they're not. But no, some Republicans can't help themselves, and to be honest, I really hope that Trump doesn't pick Noem for a host of other reasons, like her spinelessness on the business vax mandate, on protecting female sports in the land of farmers. If you know, you know. But of course, the deeper problem here is how so many people, left and right, are more concerned with a puppy, and a goat for that matter, being put down by Noem, again in a farm context, than with the everyday murder of unborn babies. But apparently, if you're concerned with that, and if you actually like the idea of there being more cute babies around, Politico says that makes you a scary far-right person. This new hit piece just came out, and yet it covers an event which happened last December, the first pro-natal convention in Austin, Texas. Birth rates, declining populations, the Great Replacement theory, they all started trending over the weekend again as this piece made the rounds. X's Elon Musk added his 2 cents. And while he's good on many topics, don't get me wrong, this one, not as much. As part of his solution to declining birth rates is to increase legal migration to make up for the shortfall. Once again, I turn to Daryl Cooper, host of my favorite podcast, Martyr Made, to debunk Musk's solution. Cooper argues, quote, "Mass immigration is a solution to population decline, but not a solution to low birth rates. So using it to make up the gap means permanent mass migration from the undeveloped high birth rate world until native European populations are displaced in the only homelands they have. All the immigrants flowing into the West have homelands they can go back to if they ever chose. European peoples have nowhere else to go. Asian countries, as you point out, have low birth rates and low immigration, and so are facing a decline in population, which will entail difficult adjustments and sacrifices. But when Japan's decline levels off, it will still be Japan, the homeland of the Japanese people, their own spot on the planet to develop and commune as a people. Meanwhile, Englishmen are no longer the majority of the population in London, and the traditional peoples of the British Isles are on track to be a minority in their own country as a whole by mid-century. Whatever the difficulties and consequences of transitioning through a period of declining population, losing our homelands forever is worse," end quote. Case in point on this, the odious Muslim First Minister of Scotland, Humza Yousaf, has finally resigned from his position over some political controversies dogging his time in office. He is the one who argues that Scotland has too many Scottish people in it. And if you're mad about him saying that, you should go to prison on hate crime charges, which means that he would like to see the Scottish ethnically cleansed from their own homelands after they welcomed his Pakistani family into their country with open arms and allowed him to rise to one of the highest ranking positions in the land, all while he actively hates the native population, which gave him such privilege. Pakistan would never do that for some white guy. Anyway, a Scottish Labour leader, a member of Parliament, likewise born to Pakistani Muslims, now wants to hold snap elections in Scotland to replace Yousaf as First Minister. And it looks like he's in the running to win, but Anas Sarwar is just as despicable as Yousaf. Watch.
Every chief executive of every council and every government department, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, white. Every High Court judge in Scotland, white. Every prison governor in Scotland, white. Every editor of a news organisation in Scotland, white. Why?
Sir, you were literally in Scotland. What do you expect? What happened to loving the Indigenous and Native peoples? Yeah, I don't think mass migration, legal or illegal, is any kind of solution to low birth rates.